After 5 long years of waiting, we finally got the follow-up to one of the best animated movies ever, in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. The filmmakers once again dive into the mesmerizing world of the Spider-Verse, and they do it through the stunning animation and their use of music to convey deep emotions. One of the defining qualities of the Spider-Verse franchise so far is its groundbreaking animation. In the first film, basically everybody, when we were introduced to this unique style, loved it because of their unique style that blended traditional animation techniques with innovative computer generation imagery. And Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse surprisingly takes this to new heights, which I didn't think they would be able to do. Basically, they push the boundaries of what's possible in animated storytelling with its vivid colors, fluid character movement, and intricate attention to detail, creating an immersive experience that I feel like a lot of animated movies wouldn't have been able to do. But it's not just the animation that makes these Spider-Verse films so good. The filmmakers' understanding of the power of music and storytelling is another thing that makes it pretty good. They skillfully incorporate a diverse range of musical styles and genres to enhance the emotional depth of the characters inside of their scenes. This is basically shown when Miles finally becomes Spider-Man and Into the Spider-Verse and takes that leap of faith that Peter B. Parker is talking about, and just the music itself makes this scene way more engaging. From swelling orchestral pieces to energetic hip-hop tracks, the music becomes a language of its own in a way, seamlessly intertwining with the narrative and amplifying the audience's connection to the story. In addition with that, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and this is one of the reasons why I personally like both of these movies, they incorporate a lot of the comic panels and visual elements that make comics so engaging in the first place. They do it in like a refreshing and very innovative way. So with these elements all in all, it creates a visually captivating sequence that immerses us into this world that we're just learning about. We see this more specifically with Across the Spider-Verse, with their stylistic choices heightening the overall spectacle of the movie. What really makes the Spider-Verse film so great to me is how they truly define what it means to be Spider-Man. Into the Spider-Verse reminds us that anyone can wear the mask regardless of their appearance or background, and this is shown through characters like Miles, Penny Parker, Spider-Man Noir, and even Spider-Ham. But now that we're done talking about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, it kind of begs the question of, how does its follow-up measure up? If I had to say, I'd say that it's not only a worthy successor to its predecessor, but it might even surpass it in some way. Like I was mentioning earlier, but more specifically with Across the Spider-Verse now, the film's aesthetic prowess elevates the emotional scenes to another height. The careful build-up and then eventual plot twist, which I'll get to later, adds layers of depth that resonate with us as an audience. Another aspect of the film's aesthetic that I really liked was its variety. Unlike the first movie, where all the Spider-Man were confined to Miles' universe so it all fit his aesthetic, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse takes us on a journey to different Earths, establishing new universes. And this expansion allows us to see a plethora of art styles, making each universe unique and engaging in its own right. The vibrant colors that shift as Miles confronts the Spider Society were unexpected but visually stunning. I was blown away by the scene featuring all the Spider people chasing after Miles. Then, doing some research, I found out that this scene took Sony's animators a while for them to work on, so actually hats off to them. But let's not also forget about this film's soundtrack. In my opinion, it's way better than the first movie soundtrack, which further amplifies my love for it. Even with the opening scene alone, the music that's cleverly used to depict Gwen Stacy's emotional state is just genius, to be honest. I feel like the filmmakers were literally just spitting with this movie, like there's no miss. Every time she experiences heightened emotions, that particular theme resurfaces, fleshing out her character more, and that's what I'm about to get into. But another example of this is when she's talking to her dad, how the music gets more loud as the scene goes, in conjunction with the vibrant colors immersing. Something that this movie does better than Into the Spider-Verse is flesh out the characters that were previously shown in the last one, and that was one of my major gripes with the movie. I just feel like we didn't get enough fleshing out of other characters. For example, in this film, film, Gwen takes the co-lead role, and then we learn so much more about her through this, giving her a chance to shine. But then for Peter B. Parker, he kind of takes a step back and doesn't really fit that co-lead role. Despite this, the film is still able to catch us up with his life without even having to make him a main character per se. His arc is already well developed in my opinion, having resolved his internal conflicts and rediscovered his passion for doing things right with MJ through Miles and starting a family. It's also remarkable to see his love for his daughter on display, because we know that Miles is the main motivating factor for him even wanting to make things right in the first place. And he tells him this in the movie, and he also makes this evident that he has this enthusiasm when he shows his picture of his daughter to Miles and Gwen. The other thing that kind of makes me really like Peter B. Parker in this movie is through his lack of fear towards Miguel O'Hara, because everybody in this movie pretty much is scared of Spider-Man 2099. Oscar Isaac has a really good vocal performance as Miguel O'Hara and adds depth to his character. Miguel is kind of complex and a damaged person, so he's driven by facts rather than feelings, and because of this, kind of just neglects the core values of being Spider-Man. And Miles is on the contrary. He's not neglecting the core values of being Spider-Man. If anything, he's amplifying them and showing people a new way, which we're gonna get to later in the video. But Miles in this film is exceptional. His dynamic with Gwen is defined by their emotional connection, which is beautifully portrayed through their interaction, which is once again portrayed through the power of music. The revelation from Miguel that Miles was never destined to be Spider-Man, the plot twist that I'm gonna get to now, and I'm gonna talk about, which has a lot of people talking on TikTok, so I'm gonna get into it. So the Miles Morales that we follow in this trilogy is not the one that was supposed to be bitten by that spider. But because of Kingpin's Collider, the spider from Earth 42 was brought into Earth 1610, which is our Miles' universe. And since we know that this spider is kind of an artificial spider that was destined to bite Miles Morales, it was looking for Earth 1610's Miles Morales since it couldn't bite Earth 42's. Now, because of this, it changed his whole universe's fate as a whole. Instead of that Peter Parker that we see at the beginning of Into the Spider-Verse living, he dies so that then Miles could become that universe's Spider-Man, changing the course of history in the whole multiverse as we know it. And because of this, Miguel O'Hara is pissed at Miles Morales. To make things even worse, now there's a multiversal threat named the Spot who's going around universes, basically destroying them and causing canon events. Canon events are basically events that are set to happen in every single Earth, events that link all of the Spider-Man, like, for example, Uncle Ben's death in comparison to Uncle Aaron. Every Spider-Man must lose someone. That is classified as a canon event. And despite this, and just the revelation as a whole that he was never destined to be Spider-Man, he still shows that he still has the core values of what it means to be Spider-Man, and proves that he's a better Spider-Man than the whole Spider Society. And Miguel O'Hara tells Miles that his dad's death is a canon event, and that every Spider-Man is destined to lose a police figure in their life. To be more specific, somebody that's close to them personally, for example, Captain Stacy with Spider-Man Peter Parker. And despite this, he proves that he's a better Spider-Man than the rest of them by saying that he'll try to find a way to save his dad and the multiverse. But if I had to rate this movie, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. The only thing that is really missing for me is just, it has an unfinished conclusion, I feel like. But that's fine, because when the next sequel comes out, we'll eventually see a fully climactic conclusion to this trilogy that we've been invested in since 2017. So if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and tell me your personal rating of the film. And with that being said, I'm out.